ready? The Kornelia Stephanie Show. Wake up to love, your call to action. Join Kornelia as she empowers others to live heaven on earth. Kornelia teaches listeners how to be the authority over yourself, embracing your inner guru. Feel yourself uplifted into limitless expansion, integrating ease and grace in a changing world. This show will cover topics such as unconditional love, your physical body, how to be in extraordinary relationships, create financial and emotional wealth, embracing entrepreneurship in the new earth. Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Kornelia Stephanie Show, Stories of Hope Friday. Super excited to be with you today. We're going to have a conversation right now with a beautiful entrepreneur, author, and coach that's going to support us in having the conversations that sometimes we have struggled with, standing up for ourselves or being an advocate for what it is that we believe in, and standing up. We're challenged by these kinds of things, whether it's in your own personal life or whether it's in the corporate world as well, or whether you may need to have a conversation with the people that kind of bulldoze all over you or that don't respect your boundaries. Julie Crenshaw is an expert at this. She's been working on this for a long time. Her mission is to empower others to feel confident in their ability to express themselves and their needs and desires more clearly, and to be able to handle difficult situations and conversations with ease. She believes that with a strong foundation of compassion, boundaries, and a healthy mindset, anyone can learn to gracefully connect with others no matter the situation. Julie is a conversation coach and author of the book, Navigating and Avoiding Awkward Conversations. Throughout the last 15 years, she has cultivated a strong set of interpersonal skills as a result of working in major department stores for a collections company and as a physical therapist in the home health setting. She teaches on a wide variety of topics, from basic socializing and small talk skills to dealing with conflict to having conversations on difficult subjects such as illness and grief. As a doctor of physical therapy and a board certified specialist in geriatrics, subjects related to healthcare and patients' rights and caregiver burden are close to her heart. Welcome to the show, Julie Crenshaw.
Thank you. I'm so excited to be here.
My gosh, you have developed quite a skill set, and I love the mission that you're on, helping people really have those difficult conversations where they would normally run away or avoid them. And you're helping people not cower down, but actually step up.
Yes. There are so many different scenarios out there where maybe our fight or flight response has been triggered, and most of us either hunker down or run away. And I want people to be able to feel confident leaning into those difficult conversations. And I want them to feel empowered to be able to have them in a way that is graceful and peaceful, that we can help to resolve difficult emotions, difficult situations with love and connection, instead of having to butt heads or run away. So whether that's dealing with conflict or whether it's a really difficult issue like illness or grief.
So you've developed that skill set. You know that over the years you've been in these professional situations. Did it happen that people always came to you and they asked you and they looked at you and they're like, how did it reveal itself?
So, it was my journey to just go through these things. Getting your doctorate takes a long time. So over those years, I was just working jobs, trying to pay the bills, as we all do at some point in our lives. And I'm a person who, I don't like conflict. I don't like for people to yell at me, but working retail and working in collections, it happens. And so you learn, or I learned, to develop this skill set to anticipate who was going to be the person that might escalate a situation really quickly, and to trial and error. What happens if I say this, or what happens if I say that, or how are they going to react if I present it this way, or can I get in front of this problem in a way that helps to keep it from ever escalating in the first place? Or in collections, you've got people who are very likely just yelling at you straight out of the gate, and you're having to walk into a situation that is very heated with very high emotions and help to ratchet that down to a manageable level so that you can actually have a productive conversation going forward. And then all of those skills got brought into my healthcare position. I work in home health, so I'm in people's homes, and people tend to be a lot more free flowing with their emotions when they're in their environment. So I was being met with a lot of these escalated emotions more than when I worked at the hospital or outpatient, and realizing how these other skills were coming into play. So how that all turned into what I'm doing now is that I had become involved in a group. I love self-development. I love anything that's going to up level. I'm just really drawn to it. And I had become involved with a group of women who were all about the up level. And I mean, anything, everything, whether it was the people they were hanging out with, the places they were going, self-development books, better skin routine. If it was something that was next level, they wanted to know about it. But what was happening was they were putting themselves in these very novel or uncomfortable situations and coming back to the group and going, this just happened and I have no idea how to handle it. Maybe someone was rude with them and they didn't know what to say, or maybe they were just really embarrassed or overwhelmed. I went to this high-end store. They told me this purse was $10,000. I was so embarrassed. I didn't know how to say no. And they were coming back into the group. And just because of my experience, I would respond and go, oh, well, you could say this, or you could go about it this way, or, oh, if you present it this way, it'll totally smooth over. And it just started that way. And I just kept getting people who were messaging me privately and saying, please keep, I started doing posts. And so they would say, please keep doing these posts. They're so helpful to me. I've been able to do this and that because of your posts. I'm planning a wedding and I was able to really go in with a lot of confidence to these vendors. Or I had one person who said, I have Asperger's, and a lot of times I don't know exactly what to say to come across in the way that I mean, and your content is really helping me. So it was that sort of thing that encouraged me or inspired me to write the book, because I felt like this message was really important and I wanted to get it out into the world.
Now, do you have a copy of that book right there handy?
I believe I do. Yes. Give me just a second. Here.
Put it up there. So navigating, avoiding awkward conversations. Is this on Amazon?
It is on Amazon. It's also on Kindle and Audible, which I read myself because I love to hear books read in the author's own voice. So it's also available there.
Good for you. Congratulations.
Thank you.
If it's really that good to where when you put the posts out there and people are messaging you back, that's when you really know you're sitting on a gold mine, when they're telling you. So many women entrepreneurs, so many business owners, small business consultants that are out there right now that are having to have difficult conversations, whether it's in life or business, or your parents' healthcare, or you're an advocate for someone. You've got to get that book, and you've got to use strategy and, like Julie said, mindset, like approach it from this perspective, because you're a skilled expert at this. You've been cultivating this for years. So it's not like you're just randomly coming out of the box with this. This is something that you've put some time and energy into, and how human behavior operates. So you've been able to, put together this beautiful book to help people. And
yes.
I can tell you right now, Julie, that I'm definitely going to want to have you as part of our community. I will definitely be contacting you again after this call to set up a call with you to talk to you about coming into our mastermind group of high value professionals, leading experts in their field, that
Mhm.
are, doing a lot of great things in the world. And some of your education and teaching will be very, very well received within our group. So we'll be talking to you about that. But now, what is it that you want to highlight today for the listener, the person that you're speaking to directly? What do you want to talk to them about?
It's so interesting that who has been attracted to my content because it's actually two extremes. So it's either the person who feels really awkward and shy, and they're very frequently overwhelmed by these situations that they're going into and they don't know how to handle it. Or it's the opposite. It's people whose personality is maybe a little bit affronting, a little bit on the aggressive side. And I say that with all the love in my heart because that is my natural personality, is one that I always want to be right. I have very strong opinions. I want everybody to agree with me. So I say that with so much love. But it can be that other extreme too, where you know that the way that you interact with others it's too much. It's not really giving that other person space or credit for their real feelings that really matter. And you want to be able to connect with other people better. You want to be able to be more collaborative. You want to be able to be more understanding. You don't want to react so strongly and negatively to that. So I have one person who she just lights me up every time she sends me these messages from time to time and tells me situations where she said, normally I would have totally lost my cool and snapped in this situation. And instead, I handled it like a total boss. And I'm so proud of myself. And I just want you to know it's because of your book. So there does tend to be both extremes that's kind of coming to the middle, but the same principles apply equally to both of those extremes, which is so interesting.
So basically, your audience is the shy ones, the introverts,
Mhm.
and then also the maybe type A
Yeah.
uh, personality, right?
Right. Yes.
So, and it's kind of good to know that. It's good
Mhm.
to know, who the people are, and good for you for paying attention and knowing who they are and what's coming back to you, so you can serve better.
Right.
It's all about, that you can serve better. So let's tell the audience all about you, where they can find out more information about you, where they can look you up, and where they can find your book again.
So my website is yourconversationexpert.com, and you can find so many resources there, including links to the book and a course that I'm creating. We didn't get to that one, but there's a lot of good stuff on there too. You can follow me on Instagram at Your Conversation Expert, and you get to see a lot more of the fun side of my personality on there. I like to do kind of fun and silly things too. The book itself is on Amazon, Kindle, or Audible. So it's navigating and avoiding awkward conversations. Mhm.
Love it. We so need that in the world, because this reminds me of actually building bridges
Mhm.
and finding a common ground to get together to resolve the issues that divide us. Julie Crenshaw, thank you so much for coming on today. We're going to take a break on the Cornelia Stephanie Show, but before we go, I want you all to download the KS Media, MEDIA group app from the App Store. Download it and go create your free account and go answer the universal question in our private journal function that only you have access to. So we're going to take a break on the Cornelia Stephanie Show. We'll be right back. Wow. Welcome back to the Cornelia Stephanie Show. Whenever I do these stories of hope, I always get so inspired by you, the entrepreneurs, the speakers, and the storytellers that come on to share your gifts with our audience. Today, I'm going to introduce you to Suzanne Lavoie Sammon, and she's a storyteller, content writer, and she's a promoter, a speaker, an editor, enthusiastic traveler, and seasoned writer, and has a huge zest for life. She believes that we are on our own inner tourism. I like that term, I've never heard that before. Journeys, which allows us to expand and broaden our horizons personally, professionally, and recreationally. Suzanne does this by showing others the importance of a solid foundation, supports, and the right team and tools. She also currently serves as an editor and ghostwriter and proofreader. Her writing journey was reawakened after several detours on her path and expanded her life in incredible ways. Welcome to the show today.
Thank you so much. I'm so excited to be here.
I'm so glad that you came on. So I love all the things that you're talking about. You're a storyteller, you're a speaker, you are a writer, which means you're a communicator, you're, a ghostwriter, and you're an editor. So you're doing all of the communication things. And at the same time, you called life the inner tourism. And I like that term. I really like that. So are you talking about challenges that we perceive in life and what we've had, and that we can be, is that what brought about the inner tourism?
It was a lot of circuitous journeys and detours in my life that led me to where I am today.
Yes.
Yeah, my my story started out when when I was younger, I had childhood asthma, and I fell in love with writing at that point because that's when I I had a lot of solitude at that time. I was in the hospital all the time, and it really was a way of me coping with everything. And then when I got into early adulthood, there were a lot of other detours that were happening in my life. Like I had this vision of like what my life would look like. Because I'm 50 years old now. And so I had a vision of like, okay, by this time I'm going to be doing this and that. And in the year 2000, everything just went up in smoke. I was involved in a very bad car accident.
Mm.
I got hit by a car that ran a red light, and I was left with permanent injury, nerve damage. I actually have a bit of a head injury, but thank God, like it didn't impact the cognitive part where I can write and do all of that, but it was a major pothole that I never expected to have happen. And what had happened, like going forward, is that I still was trying to get through my life with the old version of myself prior to the accident. And I was really trying to just keep moving, even though there were all these differences within me, and I didn't want to accept that. And it wasn't until I was just having all of these difficulties and challenges navigating, like I had this destination in mind, this particular destination. I wasn't getting there. And finally, it was around the year 2016 that I was at a crossroads in my life where I needed to really look at my life, because the old versions weren't working anymore. I kept trying, it's like putting on a jacket that doesn't fit anymore. And you're like trying to put it on and everything, and it doesn't fit. And so I literally just got on my hands and knees and prayed about what I needed to do. And lo and behold, I got an opportunity to write a chapter for a compilation book. And it reawakened that writing dream that I had, because when I had the childhood asthma, I also read a lot of books, which you can see in the back of me. Like I love books and I love to write. And I had this dream of writing a book. And it didn't come about until 16 years later after this accident and everything falling apart in my life. And I had to let go. I had to let go of those parts of myself that just were not part of my original time, and I had to take a new route. So it just led to this incredible journey. And what my life looks like today, even though it's nothing like what I originally planned, it's so fulfilling. It is so abundant. And I'm not grateful for like being hurt and injured, but I'm grateful that out of the ashes, out of that wrecking ball in my life, that I was able to rebuild. I was able to reinvent, and I was able to get to a new destination that really was where I wanted to be. I just didn't know it at the time. So when I think about like the inner tourism and the inner tour guide, we are always navigating. Like we have these destinations in mind, but sometimes we are going to encounter detours. We're going to encounter potholes. We're going to encounter times where we can't get to those destinations in our lives. But then where you end up eventually is where you're supposed to be. And that's what happened for me. And I'm now like writing I'm an entrepreneur, and I'm doing all of these things that never would have been possible if I kept holding on to those old versions and those old limiting beliefs. And that's the story of hope that I want to provide here, that even at the work, when everything just completely blows up. I mean, and even like now with the pandemic and everybody having to make all of these adjustments and changes and just all the chaos, that there is hope. There is hope out of those ashes, and being able to just take new routes and being able to navigate and at your own pace. That's another thing I want to say too. Like, we all have our own journey, our own pace. And I am just so grateful. And I want to encourage everybody out there that no matter when the unthinkable happens, there is a purpose in that pain. There's a purpose in that detour, in that pothole. And if you just take time to look at the scenery around you, if you take time to really look at the wonderful, the wonderful things that are happening and take it in, and then you can take that time to create and build a new and different life for yourself. And that's what my story is, providing that hope that no matter what happens, there's a different life, there's a beautiful life, and there's an exciting life ahead of you.
That's beautiful. That's so beautiful and so timely right now, because I know a lot of people are faced with moving into right alignment with what their purpose is, with what they're here to do, especially right now. So the fact that you spoke to this, that you wanted to inspire hope, that even if your life is falling apart and things aren't going according to plan, what you thought it was going to be, that there is a reason and a purpose for it. And your story and what you're telling us today, that the message is to trust the process, and that it's going to be okay, and that there is a greater path. So this basically, because you said, you're 50 years young and you're just beginning, and so this is the second half of your life, and now you're designing the second half of your life, and you're happy, and you're successful, and you're doing what it is that you love. Now, can I ask you a question? Do you still have asthma?
Yes, I do.
Okay, so I would really love to see that asthma healed, and because that is something that can be healed now too, as you're really living your right purpose right now. So I really love what you're up to. I just want to let the audience know. So, what services do you provide right now to people? Like, are you, because you said you're a ghostwriter, you said you are, what services are you offering to people today?
Sure. I do have a website. It's called highrisetourism.com, and it comes from my reconstructing personal and professional high rises in our lives. And I provide editing and the proofreading service, because I always believe that with writing, that we help build on somebody's writing. And then I also provide consultation. I'm actually going to be expanding into coaching and doing like meditation and just encouraging people to discover that inner tourism guide. And I also provide, I help with customer service and trying to build on what's right with people and with businesses, especially within hospitality and tourism. So people can definitely reach out to me with that. I just really,
What's your website? What's your website?
it's www.highrisetourism.com.
Okay. So I think that's a really good easy. Are you on Facebook and social media as well?
Yes, I have a business page, Suzanne Lavoie, and then I also have an Instagram. It's a tourism guru, Suzanne Lavoie. So yes, and I'm
Good.
also under Suzanne Lavoie Sammon with my personal Facebook. So anybody can reach me through there.
Well, I think you would also want to have a further conversation with us too in our group of professional entrepreneurs that are always looking for writers and proofreaders and editors and all kinds of things that are book publishers. So I want to thank you so much for coming on today, Suzanne, and telling us your incredible story. Congratulations for living your best life now. Thank you to the audience for listening and tuning in. Go get that KS Media Group app, and we'll see you again next time. Take care, everybody.
You've been listening to the Kornelia Stephanie Show, Wake Up to Love, your call to action. Tune in each week on Transformation Talk Radio. Kornelia's joy is to engage others in practical ways, showing us how to live in the new earth in harmony with our true nature. For more information on Kornelia and her extraordinary work, or to listen to past shows, go to her website at korneliastephanie.com.